our big story, that massive fire. Many waking up to the news seeing this video. Huge flame shooting out over Tempe Town Lake. The smoke seen for miles. Tonight, the aftermath revealed as we learn a train had derailed in this same spot just over a month ago. And now the cleanup could take weeks. Our crew's on scene all day, bringing you nonstop developments. And let's get right to Zach Crenshaw, starting our team coverage tonight.
Steve, it didn't end with a bridge collapse, but as you mentioned, a Union Pacific train did derail on this same Tempe bridge nearly a month ago on June 26th. Now, the company says multiple rail and bridge ties were damaged as a result and quickly fixed within 2 days. The question now, what role did that damage, derailment, play in today's collapse? That is part of the investigation going on right now. The other has to do with a chemical leak that is still leaking as we speak. It's coming from one of the 3 train cars that fell from the bridge. One of those damaged cars containing cyclohexanone, a flammable liquid that's also a health and environmental hazard. Now, it's mostly used in the production of nylon and paint remover. The Tempe fire chief saying today, fortunately, the 500 gallons of that chemical are not leaking into Tempe Town Lake. Instead, they're going to a dry runoff area. Tempe's police chief says the cleanup from the leak, the debris, and this bridge collapse will be a Herculean task, and it's unclear if it's ever going to be rebuilt.
This will be a multi-day, even perhaps a multi-week effort.
But it clearly wasn't a bridge that was inactive. It was currently being utilized. So I would think they're going to probably take a very hard look at rebuilding it so it can continue to be used.
Now, right now, Tempe police say they have no reason to believe that criminal activity was involved in this derailment, but they are investigating that and actually called the FBI to help with that investigation. As you can imagine, there is going to be a ton of money spent on this, from overtime for all the city employees to the cleanup equipment to just the damage to the sidewalk and park area. I asked Mayor Woods if he's going to ask Union Pacific to pay for it. He said that's a conversation that's going to be had. Live tonight in Tempe, Zach Crenshaw, ABC 15, Arizona.
Right now, authorities advising everybody just to avoid downtown Tempe entirely. The morning, though, several were out and about when they experienced a morning like they'd never seen before. Our Cameron Pullum getting some perspective from those who witnessed this.
You know, Steve, it's tough to tell people to stay away from the area. Over the last hour, I've seen about 50 people stop along Mill Avenue Bridge or stop where we are just to get a look at this. Now, as we've watched over the last hour, we've seen heavy equipment brought in from crews. We've seen bulldozers, we've seen cranes that are lifting a lot of that mangled material out of that area. But again, this morning this area was filled with joggers, walkers, people who are taking a bike ride, enjoying Tempe Town Lake, but that was changed in an instant. Charred train cars and crumpled steel, a bridge that stood more than a century, partially destroyed.
Heard a noise, it was continuous, like thunder noise for like 5 seconds.
Mark and Vicki McIntyre watched it all unfold on their morning walk.
We turned around to watch and we could see the top of the trestle shaking. Next thing we saw, cars going off and kicking up in the air.
This video shot moments later. Massive flames fought back by firefighters around the valley from land and on water. At least a half dozen cars carrying lumber smoldered along the tracks for hours. 3 cars ended up crashing to the ground below.
One of the challenges that we're facing with the train fire on the bridge is that the bridge itself is on fire.
Union Pacific owns the train and the bridge, telling us it was en route to Phoenix from Tucson at the time of the accident. They add the bridge is visually inspected monthly, with its last inspection taking place July 9th.
And the biggest thing is we're just trying to make sure that we do everything we can to assess the damage and get this all taken care of.
According to one bridge expert, he expects that damage to be significant.
When the steel gets hot, of course, it gets soft and can deform, but then when it cools down, it can actually become brittle.
If it does, the long-standing bridge might be history.
There's a very good likelihood the entire bridge will have to be replaced.
Now we can see Union Pacific crews are walking along that railway right now, kind of inspecting the cars that are still there, inspecting the bridge as they walk that area as well. Now we know that the derailment and the partial bridge collapse is still under investigation. The Federal Railroad Administration as well as the NTSB will be on scene investigating this as well. Fortunately, no one was injured. I'm Cameron Pullum, ABC 15, Arizona.